Thousands of both lower and higher grades will return to school for the reopening of the 2024 calendar year. Now, joining us for more on the state or readiness is Hendrick Makaneta, an education activist. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. How would you say, we are ready for the 2024 calendar year, considering also what we are seeing and hearing, that some schools in KwaZulu-Natal were destroyed by floods and some have not been repaired yet, since in some cases previous floods?
Yeah, definitely the state of readiness for the reopening of our schools at this stage is a cause for great concern. Considering the floods, as you have mentioned, in KwaZulu-Natal, there is no doubt that some of the schools and families may be affected. In fact, already they are affected negatively. We know of some of the people who died as a result of the storm. In KZN, may their souls rest in peace. And we hope that government will be able to move with the necessary speed to make sure that they prepare the ground, particularly in KZN, with a view to assist the families, so that the learners in KZN should not fall behind with the curriculum. But at the same time, if you look at other provinces such as Gauteng, you realize that we are likely to experience late, late placements of learners, particularly in grade 1 as well as in grade 8. As you know that, most of the schools are already full, and parents have been applying now, have been submitting, some of them have been submitting late applications as well, and so this will certainly have a negative effect. And on learning and teaching, because on day one, we are of the view that all learners should be in class and that learning and teaching should take place. But it appears that it will not be the case.
And how concerned are you? Because we're also hearing that there are more than 1,400 grade 1 and grade 8 pupils who are still waiting to be placed in provinces like the Western Cape, Gauteng Education Department also saying that the province is experiencing high demand for school placement this year.
Definitely. You'll agree with me that year in, year out, we experience the same problem with regards to the two provinces, Gauteng as well as the Western Cape. And I think that this is something that, as activists in the terrain, we have called on government to be more proactive, rather than to react to problems of this nature in the beginning of the year. We knew well in advance that we will not have enough infrastructure to also cater for the growing number of learners who come into these two provinces, Gauteng as well as Western Cape. And that is why we have called on government, particularly the Western Cape, to find a way to come up with mobile classrooms and where possible to build more schools. And it appears that government alone is unable to build the necessary infrastructure that is so required. And at this point, we really want to call upon them to rather collaborate with private schools. If you look at some of the popular or some of the well-known private schools, they are expanding. They are building on a yearly basis. And I think that it's about time that we have this public-private partnership between government and these private schools, with a view to expand our infrastructure so that even learners who are in townships can be able to attend, those low-cost schools that will be built in partnership with government and the private sector, if there is that agreement.
Some of the things that we're also hearing, of course, and this also coming out of KwaZulu-Natal, is that parents of some learners at Gobindlovu High School in KwaZulu-Natal Midlands are up in arms, after their children who failed their grades, some of them twice, were asked not to return to school this year. I mean, the parents say their children are now left stranded with no school in the area willing to accept them for the 2024 academic year.
To be quite honest with you, that is also a cause for great concern, because if you look at Section 29 of our Constitution of the Republic, it states very clearly that everyone has got the right to education, and we really want to condemn a situation whereby learners are kicked out of the classroom. And of course, the question of age sometimes creep in. In such a case, we appeal to school authorities to work with the parents to make sure that, if a learner is no longer eligible to be at school, they should rather assist such learners to attend, TVET colleges, where they can be able to carry on with learning and teaching, particularly learners who are not academically inclined. We really want government to really, take steps, visible steps, to assist these learners and not just leave them to society, because we find that there are huge problems whereby some of these learners, end up not pursuing their studies, and at times they can become a problem to society in general.
Is that up to the schools, though, to decide? I mean, I do understand some concerns from parents if you have a child that's, above the normal school age, having concerns, particularly in terms of bullying and the violence that we've been seeing. But surely then it is a collaborative effort in terms of making sure that those children do find a way to be educated, but not leaving it entirely for the schools to find the solutions.
Definitely. In such a case, districts as well as the head of department in the province are able to intervene decisively in such matters. So schools alone do not hold, the power to decide on their own. So parents do have the right to visit, districts as well as the provincial office where, they are unhappy with the decisions that are taken by schools, and in some cases, or in most cases, such decisions can be reversed if needs be. But what is important for us as activists in the terrain is that the doors of learning and teaching must remain open for all our learners, despite the difficulties that they sometimes find themselves in. And it is for this reason that we really want to appeal to government, to make sure that they speed up all of those laws that have been suggested in the BILA Act, with a view to make sure that where learners are denied an opportunity to learn, action is taken immediately.
Mr. Makaneta, I want to squeeze this last question in. Of course, last year we saw, how the country basically was debating and up in arms in some quarters about the 2021 report that highlighted, the findings that more than 80% of grade 4 South African learners, were struggling to read for comprehension. How concerned are you about this? And also, how can we take this, forward, particularly in this academic year?
I think that, there must be proper focus on the foundation phase. Previously, this has not been the case. The focus, as you know, has always been in the higher grades. Even now, there is a lot of hype about the activities of the upcoming Thursday, the 18th, during which the minister will announce the results for the class of 2023. And I think that going forward, we need to change our approach to strengthen the foundation phase of our education system, to make sure that only qualified teachers to start with are employed at that level, but also to make sure that, when we look at the annual teaching plan, teachers should be expected to complete their annual teaching plans at foundation phase and be able to also teach higher order comprehension skills. Because currently we get a sense that most of the teachers have been teaching lower order comprehension skills amongst learners at that foundation phase, as well as the intermediate phase. And this has actually affected the manner in which learners are not able to read for many years, as you have just said.